that it's important to differentiate what we're talking about when we're talking about transparency. And in fact, often when we talk about quantitative work and qualitative work, we're actually talking about two different things. First, there's transparency in the data analysis stage, right? So this is often sharing codes, replicating models, rerunning analyses, data repositories. It's a transparent process that involves researchers disclosing what they did with raw data that they've collected. And this comprises the bulk of the discussion about transparency, transparent guidelines, and policies concerning quantitative research, right? Second, there is transparency in the data collection stage. This involves being open about the who, the what, the where, the when, and why of data collection. Yet qualitative data typically contains sensitive identifying information, right? So scholars have a harder time sharing. And because these identifying details aren't included and others cannot easily run models to analyze raw qualitative data and data collection tends to primarily be the focus when academics, journalists, advocate for open science when they discuss qualitative work. But I would argue that they're actually arguing for something very different than what they argue for in quantitative work, right? There's very little discussion about how the people who actually do the surveys that quantitative work is based on. I used to work at a call center and you read a script, but it matters kind of who is on the call and who's not. And so I'd argue this difference between analysis and data collection is really important because there are just different standards, applications, guidelines, foci with regard to each. And really, I have been feeling when we talk about transparency that really qualitative and quantitative researchers are talking past one another precisely because they're talking about different stages of research. And so my argument, right, I also have a 2018 paper if you're interested in kind of the 3 different models of transparency in ethnographic work, naming places, naming people, and sharing data. But I really believe that we should be marked by transparency in the decision-making processes, why we make the decisions we do, and that, in fact, there should not be a default way of being transparent. Rather, the default should be the explanation, justification regarding why we make the decisions we do, how this differs based on projects, purposes, and goals, that we need to be informed by our ethical considerations.